Are you an adventurer looking to take your hunt to the next level? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to East Meets West Hunt with your host, Bo Martonic.
Hey everyone, what's going on? Happy Wednesday. I know it's weird. We have 2 episodes coming out this week. Had a ton. I've recorded a bunch over the last few months and wanted to start getting some more of them out here as I've already got a ton, scheduled and wanted to have here for the summertime. So more or less I figured why hold on to them? Let's get them out and get them released here. So the one I have today is with Cade Maestas and Mike Lilygren from Maven Optics. So we recorded this out at the Harrisburg Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania back in February. And as you know, Maven is a partner of the podcast, and I've worked with these guys at the booth in Harrisburg for 3 years now. Been using their optics for a long time. Awesome products, and as you hear, awesome guys behind the company. And what I like about any of the companies that I like to support or either buy from, work with, whatever it may be, when you have some great people, good customer service, everything else behind it, to me that's what makes a company and their culture. And I'm sure that's going to come through pretty clear in this podcast, but these guys are awesome, and I can't wait to for you to listen to this one. So in other news, this month, if you order anything, any apparel from the website, we're giving out a free ebook to the new book released from our friends Travis Greenwood and Scott Daniels that were on the podcast a few episodes ago called Team Bad Decision. They have a book coming out, and it's called Team Bad Decision. Met these guys in the backcountry of Colorado, and just some really cool dudes. Keep it as real as possible. They talk about their struggles, their frustrations, their downfalls, as well as their successes. You can learn a lot from it, with it being entertaining as well. But anyways, I'm giving out one of these books, one of the electronic versions, to one lucky winner with any of the apparel purchases on the website in the month of April. So I have, that book coming out with a bunch of new apparel items. So the stealth hats are in stock again, along with the mountain buck shirts. They should be arriving here this week, maybe the next couple days here, getting ready to be shipped. As well as the Arrowhead Active hats are back in stock, which are the ones that are meant for, warm weather, active wear, running. They when you sweat in them, they wick moisture really good. Awesome hats, and everything else from the Arrowhead t-shirts all the way through the line. Everything by the end of this week should be back in stock, ready to go. So get on the website, check that out. If you want to support the podcast that way, would really appreciate it. Check that out. And in other news, turkey season's coming up here soon, as you heard in the podcast with Jake a couple days ago. Have another podcast coming out in the beginning of next week, actually, with my buddy Rick Maxon, who's been on the podcast before, and another buddy of mine, Alec and Nebel, who are turkey hunting fiends. And we're going to talk a little bit about hunting farm country turkeys, a little different than normal, but talking about their method of knocking on doors, gaining permission, scouting, everything else, and also Rick's recent Texas Rio hunt, which is a very interesting take on things, where he took a nice Rio and a hog. Not to give away the spoiler, but he did. So, with that being said, let's get into this podcast here with Mike and Cade. Enjoy. But first, I want to talk about the partners of the East Meets West Hunt podcast. So, as always, the University of Elk Hunting, Corey Jacobson, and Elk 101 have put together a fully comprehensive course of elk hunting. So, with an annual membership, you can learn everything from planning the hunt all the way through the calling, fitness, gear, packing out the animal, and everything in between. And if you listen to the recent podcast I did with Corey, which has been the most downloaded episode that we've had to date, for good reason. Corey really put his heart and soul into this course to teach everyone from beginning elk hunters who have never been out all the way through people that are experienced can learn something from this course and take away. So what Corey's done for the East Meets West Hunt listeners, he's offering $20 off or 20% off this course with entering code East Meets West at checkout. So check that out over at elk101.com. Click on the University of Elk Hunting and take a look at it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on email or Instagram. In addition to that, Maven Optics. So Maven is who this whole podcast is going to be about today, but this company has come out with the highest quality optics on the market at a price that's half of what their competitors are. And they're doing that by using the direct-to-consumer business model. So basically what they're doing is you can't buy these binoculars anywhere besides online or at trade shows. So a full-line binoculars, spot and scope, rifle scopes, and apparel that they have available. And what Maven is really stands out for me personally is one in their low light capabilities from the optics standpoint. I have a video over on my Instagram if you want to check it out, how amazing it is in low light situations, which I use the B2 9x45s are my personal favorite for out west. For whitetail hunting, I like the 8x30s, which are the B3 model. And also, Maven's customer service is second to none. And one of the reasons I know that is working at the Harrisburg show recently. I worked with their customer service person, which is Molly, and she's great. It's when you pick up the phone, you're talking to a real person. That's the reason why I say that. You're not calling and getting a different call center somewhere. When they say lifetime warranty, they mean it. When you call, you're getting a real person that really helps you out. So check out Maven Optics, and if you're going to look at purchasing a full price pair of optics, you can get a free gift with that order. Just enter East Meets West -gift at checkout for that. So check them out. And lastly, Heather's Choice. So Heather has created meals for adventuring, hunting, hiking, camping, traveling, whatever it might be. They're dehydrated meals, gluten-free, dairy-free, healthy options, high in protein, high in fat to be able to fuel you for any adventure. So check out Heather's Choice Packaroons. I'd recommend really taking a look at little coconut snacks, now available in little single serving packets. They're basically a coconut cookie, amazing, and are packed with high fat, high protein, dense calories to be able to fuel you in the mountains, or again, if you're in the airport and need a healthy snack and don't want to go and grab a candy bar, that's the way to go. So check that out. Any orders over $99, use code EastMeetsWest, and you'll get free shipping on that order. Otherwise, if you just want to try something out, get a few packs of Packaroons or maybe a breakfast dinner combo, still use the link in our website. Would really appreciate that to show the support for us. Thank you.
Couple of skids walk into my podcast the other day.
Perfect.
You nailed that. You nailed that.
We got it. So here, Harrisburg, or I guess Dauphin, Pennsylvania.
We're in Dauphin.
Dauphin, however you want to say it, in the Maven Lodge here with Mike Lilygren and Cade Maestas.
Nice.
Did I
nice
pronounce
job.
that right?
Nailed it.
Well done.
Boy, you're 2 for 2.
I know. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast, I guess. Got to be around you guys for
2 weekends in a row.
yeah.
Got to, get to.
Luckily, not 9 days. So
It is a slog. The Harrisburg Slog is a real thing.
Holy moly.
yeah.
It's a long show.
It's a grind, but it's worth it. It's a good show, and we're glad to be here.
Yeah, good people.
Yeah. I mean, Mike was like sleeping right before this. So
I was. They say half asleep, but I was fully asleep.
Yeah, so if he starts snoring during the podcast, we're not turning his mic off. We're just going to let it roll.
All right.
Just to add to some character.
It's guttural.
Yeah. So as you can see here in Harrisburg,
As you can hear.
As you can see here.
as you can see here,
Yins.
Yins.
oh man, 2 Wyoming guys, and you bring them to Pennsylvania, and it's hard to keep control of them. That's the issue. But so Mike and Cade, we're at the Maven Lodge here, day 8 of the Great American Outdoor Show. And it's been a pretty good week so far, would you say?
Yeah, it is a great American show. I got to say, 300,000 people come through this show in a week. It's insane. It is. It's insane. There's more people coming through this show. I mean, that's 3/4 of our state,
That is.
Wyoming,
Yep.
in 1 week come through this show.
That's insane.
It is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
insane.
we talk to brands all across the country, and a couple of them are like, yeah, we're going out to do the Harrisburg Slog, and the rest of them are like, oh, you do that show? It's so long. But it's, to me, there's no other place it's not just to me. Obviously, it is the largest outdoor show in the country, and
In the world. It's the
same
largest.
thing. Same
Yeah,
thing.
that's what I'm saying. It's the largest outdoor show in the world.
So, where else can you get in front of 300,000 people in a 9-day period?
Yeah.
600,000. Or did you say 300,000?
300.
He said 3, but it's 6. Whatever. It's 3.
Three was the number last year.
But if you
Okay.
want to go with 6, Bo, go with 6.
Whatever. Wyoming math, Pennsylvania math. We don't have to use our toes, but whatever.
We just double everything, exaggerate the hell
Double
out of it.
everything.
That was the biggest 19-point buck I ever did see. Anyway, back on track. No matter how you slice it or count it, it is absolutely an amazing
huge.
show.
And it's an awesome show.
Yeah, and for us, we're a high performance optics company, and not every person that comes through the booth is our customer, but that's true no matter where we are.
Right.
And you don't need much of a percent of that
Of 750,000 people.
of 750,000 people to dig what you're doing to have a good week. And so,
It's a third of a million.
I wasn't even listening to you. So, it's a great show to be at, and I love talking to people. I love,
You do not.
I didn't say I liked people. I said I like talking to people, which is a big difference.
That's fair.
So I had guys coming up to the booth today. They said, all right, you're the first binocular stand we've been to today. Tell us what the numbers mean. We don't know anything about binoculars. What is in the 8x30, what does the 8 mean? What does the X
It's
mean?
amazing to me
What does the
how
30
many
mean?
people claim they know what that means, but they really don't.
Yeah.
And it's nice when people just step up and admit it.
And as much as I love people to buy my product, obviously, that's why we're around, I really enjoy just chatting with people that walk away going, I learned
Yeah.
something new today. I know what the numbers mean, and today I'm really only ready to spend $50 on a binocular, and we don't have that in our booth. But in a couple of years, if they're ready to upgrade, hopefully they give us a shot. But at least I'll understand what they're doing. At least they have some knowledge when they go to that next booth and can have that conversation. And terrible segues, by the way. But honestly, that's what's cool about direct-to-consumer.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here chatting with the end user all day, and I get to take that back with me to Wyoming, and the next time we're designing a binocular, go, hey, you know what that Yins from Pennsylvania said?
Yinzer.
Yinzer.
Get it
There
right.
you go.
Yinzer, yeah, the
Yinzer.
Yinzer.
They asked about this. They asked about this, and this is a unique opportunity for the East Coaster to meet the West Coaster in
Oh,
That was a terrible
segue.
That was great. Well, what's funny is a few guys I noticed even today that came into the booth and they ended up going through purchasing optics. We're like, this is the 3rd year in a row I stopped by, and like,
Yep.
you know what I mean? It's just like
I've been planning this I've been thinking about this. I've been stewing on this. I've been researching.
yeah.
Finally pulling the trigger.
That's awesome to be able to see that. That's for sure. So now we kind of talked about that a little bit, do you want to introduce yourselves and who you are and who are the smart asses behind the mic?
So this guy over here is Cade Maestas.
I'm flexing, by the way. Right?
He is flexing.
This, yeah.
You can't tell. Even I can't tell. But he's Cade and I have been business partners for, holy crap,
14 years.
14 years we've been working together. Ish. And, he's in charge of operations. He's in charge of logistics. He's in charge of sales and basically operations of the Maven company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And marketing, and his email is...
No, he does not do marketing. No.
Oh, no, we'll hand that up.
Neither of us do marketing, but you can email info@mavenbuilt.com and Molly will direct you to marketing.
So I guess we're doing this way. So I get to introduce Mike, which is pretty awesome. So Mike Lilygren is, again, my business partner of many, many years through multiple ventures. So it's not our first rodeo. No. Actually, not even our second rodeo, which is still a small amount of rodeos if you're fighting a bull. Really, I mean, who established one as the ultimate rodeo amount, right?
No.
This is not my first rodeo. It's not my second rodeo.
Yeah. And yet, I'm still getting my ass kicked by a bull. Sorry, there's the first beep that you need to edit into your podcast. So
I think it's funny you think I edit.
That's funny. That is funny. It's like he knows how to edit. The dude's an engineer. He has no idea.
So Mike has, at our company, Mike does finance and admin. That's his primary role. Of course, sales is everybody's role, but he backs me up a lot on the show stuff and helping coordinate and run things. And between the two of us, we're the A team on sales, and which is tough,
That's
buddy.
Serious.
That's tough, buddy.
If you haven't picked up on it already and haven't checked out Letterkenny, type it in sometime online, and you'll get a few of our references, including my introduction to the show.
Mike is also a world-famous climber, which he doesn't like to talk
World-famous.
about very much, but he was in the
Google me.
1996...
April
1996 National Geographic Adventure Center
National Geographic, the Yellow Mag, not the
Yellow
Adventure.
Mag, sorry. National
Yeah,
Geographic.
the real one.
While you were climbing in Pakistan.
Yep.
So he's been a big wall climber in Pakistan, Greenland, other lands. There's like they all rhyme. He won't go if it doesn't rhyme. But and he is one of the 2/3 of Maven. So me, Mike, and our business partner Brendan, who is this week at Sheep Show.
Yep.
One of the other
Reno, Nevada.
Nevada cooler shows
Nevada.
that goes on.
Potato.
Nevada.
Caramel caramel.
There's a difference there. You add milk to caramel.
Let's not get off rail.
Don't you
All right,
start
sorry.
with
I'm
me.
the one supposed to reel you guys in, and I'm taking you down.
Oh.
Reel it in.
So-
All right, back to Mike's climbing.
So, well, I was on Brendan, so
Oh.
so to speak. So there's three of us. We started the company 5.5, almost 6 years ago, and that's not what you asked. We introduced ourselves already, but I did want to include Brendan because
Because he's not here.
he's not here, and there's three of us.
I've never
miss-
met Brendan
We
yet.
miss him.
That's all right.
You've never met Brendan?
No.
That's because you're in the East.
That's
you need to come
he's
to
the West.
I do meet the West occasionally, but I haven't
far
met
enough.
Lander, Wyoming, that's all. Yeah, but so actually, Cade, you had started already, which was good. You kind of knew the direction I was going with to kind of who is and what is Maven. You kind of started with the who is,
Yeah,
and what
I mean,
is.
So Maven is the three of us initially. But what's cool about Maven, and it starts with the actual name of our company, Maven, means an expert influencer. Someone who has knowledge and influences others in their decisions. And it really started out as our marketing concept long before we established the name of our company. Comes from this book by an author named Malcolm Gladwell called The Tipping Point. And he talks about the different people in your network, different people that you know. And you have that networker in your community, exactly. You have that networker, that person, male or female, guy or gal, that knows everybody. Like you chat with them. Oh, yeah, I know someone that does this. I know someone that does that. In our community, honestly, that's Mike. He knows everybody. He knows climbers. He knows hunters.
I can't remember anybody's name, but I know
can't remember their name. And he's like, hey, Chief, you should meet Captain over here. They're climbing and hunting and shooting and woo-ha.
Yeah.
So there's that, the networker. The connector is what it's called in the book. But then there's also the maven, the person who is an expert that you trust to give you advice on any particular special item. Like I like to fly fish. That's one of my passions. And I've got a couple of people that if I'm going to go out fishing this weekend, let's say I'm going to go on the Little Paposia, I call up Chris and I'm like, hey, Chris, what's hitting on the Little Po? And he'll say, oh, you want this and you want this and you want this. And when he says it, I'm down at the fly shop buying the stuff. He is my fishing maven. He's my influencer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what the company was based around. Isn't full-page ads in any particular magazine. I'm not going to hurt anyone's feelings by naming them, but full-page ads here. And, really we were founded off this whole idea that if we design cool stuff, build quality product, that I teach you about it, and then you tell your friend, and he tells his friend, and this core audience of people really starts believing in our product and spreading the word on our behalf. And that's who Maven is. So when I say the Maven's the three of us, looping back around to your original question because it seemed like I got off track, but oh no, I'm on it like a train.
But what you missed is we make optics.
I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
He asked who is Maven, not what is Maven. I'm not there yet.
I thought he asked what
Mike,
Maven.
you got to pay attention.
Why are you letting me take this abuse, Bo?
Yeah, I turned off Mike, so we're good.
That's fair.
Anyway, so when I say who is Maven, I say, it's me, Mike, and Brendan that founded it, but that's years ago. Maven is
a whole bunch of people
that really believe and are passionate about our product. It's guys like you that are able to hang out in our booth and talk about your experience using it in the field. It's Tony that was here working this week that took a week of vacation to honestly come out and tell people about our product. It's
Molly,
it's our staff back home. It's the guys working the West Coast shows this weekend that are doing it because they're passionate. And it's awesome. It's awesome that this little company out of Wyoming has people from Australia to Alaska going, you know what? This is fantastic product without the frills, without the gimmicks, and
without the markup.
Yeah, without the markup because we're direct to consumer. The who is Maven is pretty cool story.
Yeah. No, I'd like that.
A longer story than you really asked for. But
that's exactly what I want. Go in as much detail or as little detail as you please. Whatever makes you happy, Cade, is what makes me happy.
Really?
Not really at all. I just say that to
Gin
sound
and tonics.
Cool.
Yes, this Tanqueray and tonic makes me happy.
Yeah, nah. We'll keep moving along.
We'll go with Yingling.
Yeah, we'll go with. No, I got a nugget nectar that I'm
going
sipping on
over there.
Which is a local. Trogues Brewery.
Trogues
One
Brewery.
of our favorites.
Seasonal.
It's our favorite PA brew.
Well, yeah, when I showed up on last Friday to go to the Eagles?
The Eagle.
The Eagle
for
Hotel.
some wings. We go in. There was no choice of what beer I was
Wings
drinking.
and wings.
We were getting Nugget
But we
Nectar.
upgraded to Nugget Nectar.
Yeah. Yep.
Nugget Nectar, 10 traditional bone-in.
Yep.
And crab cakes,
And
which
crab
you
cakes,
refused to
no
eat.
filler.
Yeah, I didn't eat any crab cakes, but apparently I was supposed to.
Dude, I ate your crab cakes. It was awesome. Thanks for eating no crab cakes.
Like, I'm always looking out for you.
Thank you, brother.
That's the thing,
Thank
you know?
you.
All right, so that was the who is Maven.
Yeah.
Now the what is Maven? I'm going to let Mike fill that in because
No, I think you're on the roll. You should just keep rolling. I like what you've got going on here.
so
So,
punt
and go.
and go. Mike has to pee. Mike is known in the company as Tiny Tanks Lilygren. It's roughly the equivalent of how much fuel we have in our tank when we're towing across country. So every 2 hours we have to stop and gas up and let him deflate. If those ever get out of sync, we're hosed for the trip because he will make us stop 10 minutes early. Anyway.
That sounds like me, but I won't go down that road.
That's fair enough. So what is Maven is a pretty short answer with hours and hours of detail behind it. But the short answer is we are a high-quality optics company that sells direct to consumer. And, you know, we had this conversation earlier this week, and it was kind of funny about the direct-to-consumer model. And you're younger than us, Bo, by a significant amount.
A factor of 2.
I have my wedding anniversary this year is the same as your birthday in years. So I will be married 26 years in June, and you're 26 years old.
I'll be 27 in June, but
all right. So
close.
Got 1 year on him.
So really, if we had been pregnant for a year when you could be my kid.
I don't want to think about that.
No.
Neither does he.
So anyway, when we grew up, direct-to-consumer was these catalogers, Finger Hut and Oriental Trading Post, and it was
Eddie Bauer.
Well, we'll get there later. I mean, it was, you didn't necessarily know if you could believe it. The factory direct pricing, and it was this marketing shtick that was passed out there, but no one really believed it, or maybe you did, I don't know. But it wasn't
Really
delivering
delivered it.
quality products that were paramount to your lifestyle. It was fringe stuff. It was maybe a lamp or some silverware or whatever. It was no big deal, but direct-to-consumer really came alive with the internet. The internet changed your ability on how you buy stuff. And at the same time, you had the whole chaos going on with Kuiu and Sitka, and the Gore split up, and everyone kind of parting ways. And Kuiu really pioneered, especially in the outdoor industry, the high-end direct-to-consumer concept. They came out and they were transparent on their vision that you could get a $300 jacket, which is still expensive in the outdoor. I mean, yes, you can go down to any big box store or local discount store and get a $30 rain jacket. But they were trying to be transparent and say, look, this $300 rain jacket is $300 because we put a $200 into the cost from the factory. Keep a little for ourselves, because if you don't, you're out of business. And then we sell it to you, and that's it. But if we sold it to you for $400, kept $100 for ourselves, backed it down to the factory, really we'd only put $100 into it, and you spend $100 more and get $100 less in product, right? They really tried to be transparent about it and kind of forged this ahead in the industry of a concept of direct-to-consumer. And I know someone's listening to this and sitting there with their calculator and go, hey, wait, whatever he just said doesn't make sense. And it's because this is not my first Tanqueray and tonic tonight. So my numbers are not great, but you got to understand the concept of what it means to have to be paying these different layers of retail. There's a lot of people taking a cut by the time it hits you at the store. And I mean, we've never been shy about crediting Kuiu with pioneering that high value direct-to-consumer model. And I don't know if we would have been brave enough to completely risk doing it as the first in the industry.
No, I'm sure we wouldn't have. I mean, as we sat down and the three of us were kind of carving out like what made sense for us to build a product line, a brand, to live in Wyoming, and to branch into the optics industry, which obviously had a lot of players, But we saw these prices, the market prices for optics just keep going higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And then you saw, as you said, Cade, Kuiu and other brands, but Kuiu really in the hunting industry was carving that niche of opening up the opportunity and the understanding of direct to consumer for the market. And when you pair that the ability, which we'll get into that a little bit, but the opportunity to make high performance optics, which was out there for us, and we saw that, and we had the ability to achieve on par performance with these big brands that were going in a traditional market. But by going direct, we could hit a price point that was much more approachable for the average consumer. And so whether that's a compact binocular for a whitetail hunter, or a high power optic for a Southwest elk hunter who's looking a long distance. Either way, no matter where you spread that spectrum, by going direct and cutting out that middleman, we were hitting something performance-wise and price-wise that really made sense. And you're right. It's right on par with what was happening with high-performance fabrics in apparel.
Sure. And something that companies talk about, I don't care what industry you're in, is you hit this rollover point of being able to service your customer as a small, agile startup when you become a big company and have to start doing things differently. And you look at these big companies in the optics industry, and whether it's a European company that's been in existence for 70 years or a Great Lakes area company that's been in business about 15 years, they hit these thresholds that took him a while to process, but I appreciate that.
I'm laughing because you're right. They've turned the corner. It's not the age of the company, it's the size of the company that
and you have to add
priorities.
This infrastructure,
right,
that has to get paid.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I am the first person, trust me, I raise my hand as the first person in the room that says
money.
A business has to make money.
Totally.
I do not begrudge you making a profit. But if you're a company that has a big factory, that has hit a point where your internal sales team can't manage everything, so you hire sales reps. And I've got a lot of friends out there making their percentage as sales reps, so I'm not knocking it. But that sales rep takes a percentage. And then they go to a retail buyer. And to me, in the entire industry, and there's 7 guys out there wearing crowns sitting on thrones of gold that are going to hate me for saying this, the big box retail buyer is absolutely the biggest detriment to the outdoor industry that exists.
Ouch.
That's a bold statement.
All 7 of them can hate me. I'll take it.
They're 18.
There is strategic 18. And none of them buy from me because I'm direct to consumer, so I can get away with this. But back in the day, I'm going to back this up a little bit and say, back in the day when we used to work for the wholesale industry, our product was not designed for the consumer. Our product was designed for 18 buyers in the country.
This is a different company, by the way.
Different company. That's the back in the day. Everyone's supposed to see the hazy, right, a little flashback episode. And if you're working in the wholesale industry, if you're working for brand B or brand V or whatever you want to call yourself, your entire presentation revolves around about 18 or 20 people a year. They make or break your year. So you roll into a big box company that has the capability of buying millions of dollars from you. They have the capability of buying container loads of product from you. And you walk in and you lay out, all right, here's the 4 products I've spent blood, sweat, and tears for the last 2 years to put together. You lay it out on the table and you're proud and you're excited, and they look at it and they go, ooh, well, I already have a product at $1,200. I like that, but if it was in green, I could probably buy more of them. Ooh, yep, I wouldn't buy that item. And you walk out of there, and you completely change your product development scheme based on what that buyer says. So you get rid of that one item they said they would never buy. You change that item from brown to green, and you back this one down from $1,200 to $1,000, so you fit within their schema, their planogram. And the way you get that $1,200 down to $1,000 is you take the product down in value. You go back to your factory and say,
cut this coating, remove this element.
Let's get rid of these lenses. Let's change this from magnesium to aluminum. Let's do whatever we have to do, because that's who you're selling to.
That's your customer.
That's your customer.
Your customer is not the hunter. It's not the end consumer. It's not the user. It's not the bird watcher. It's not any of those. It's the buyer. It's the big
So
box
this buyer is deciding what you as a consumer, Bo, when you walk into big box store C, they've already decided what you get to view when you walk into that store. Not your vision, not your use in the field, not, oh, I wish I had X, Y, or Z. You're going to walk into this store and you're going to see the 20 SKUs that buyer thought 18 months ago.
And this buyer is measured. I mean, you do what you're measured by. So as a whitetail hunter, you're measured by your success from the tree stand. That's how you measure yourself, right?
Yep.
You say, this is what I want to accomplish. This is what I want to do. This is how I measure myself. A buyer is measured in the same way, but they're measured based on the performance of the products they sell. So they take the spreadsheet of products they sell, they extrapolate that into what they need to buy, and that's what they base their buying decisions on. It's not based on what the end consumer really wants, but on what dollars are moving through the store.
Yeah, so it's not based off that hunt last October when they missed a buck because they passed on a buck because they couldn't decide if he had the right point count. And so they let him walk, and then they saw him in the highlight and goes, oh, crap. He was a 9-pointer. I could have taken him. I wish I had better binoculars to decide that. That is not how he's making his decisions. He's saying, I sell 90% 10x42s, therefore I'm only going to buy 1042s next year.
And I have some in the $200, the $300, the $400, the $500, etc. price points.
So obviously you've got us wound up on this point because we've beat it for like 20 minutes.
No, it's good.
but it's frustrating because we see that result in our booth.
Yeah.
We watch people walk up every day and go, all right, where's your 10x42? And my initial reaction.
Or I use brand L.
Yep.
And I've heard they're the best. Benchmark yours against theirs.
Yeah. Why are you better than brand L? And I always have to take a step back because I live and breathe this every day. I'm very passionate about it. And sometimes I get ornery.
That'd be a good way of putting it.
Sometimes.
And especially after a 9-day show, I have to be like, hold on, this person's just coming and asking some questions. Be patient. Take your time.
When do you do that?
Every day, brother. Every day. Trust me, I'm the soul of patience.
Really?
But no, I love talking to the customer and then say, okay, why are you asking for a 10x42? Well, that's what I've always used. And that's what my dad used, my grandpa used. All right, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about why.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Here's the numbers of a 10x42. 10 times magnification, 42 millimeter objective lens, and it's delivering a 4.2 millimeter exit pupil to your eye. Great hybrid, but not necessarily the ideal performance. Let's talk about instead what your use is.
Right.
And let's find the binocular that fits your use rather than a predetermined idea of what you think you need. And honestly, I'll sell you a 10x42 all day. If you come up to my booth and say, that's your 10x42, here's a stack of hundies, I'm not sending you away. I'm not kicking you out. But if you take the time to engage me, I'm happy to talk to you about all the options. And still, if you decide a 10x42, which we sell 2 of, I'm happy to let you. I'm happy to, if that is what you decide is the right fit for you, that's perfect. But I want it to be an educated decision. I want you to do it because you've weighed your options and said, you know what? Based off the different scenarios I use, a 10x42 is a good fit for me. Beautiful. I'll sell you one all day. I'm happy about it. What I don't want you to do is walk out with the 10x42 when the 12x50 or the 8x30 or any of those are a better option for you, because I want you to walk away happy. Mm-hmm. Even if it means talking to Mike, which is rare.
Yeah, better than that, whatever. Better than that, I want you to be happy 2 seasons from now when you've used those optics in the field in the way that you're going to use them time after time, and you've had success. That's what I want, is that you go, oh, yeah, this is the kind of optic fits the situation that I use.
And honestly, sometimes the right answer for you is not in my booth.
Yeah, it's true.
If you need, if 10x42 is what you need and you need a $150, $200 optic, I don't sell that. I'm happy to point you towards a company that sells a good one. Mm-hmm. There are other companies out there that do a good job in that price range. One day you may or may not be ready to upgrade. I hope you consider my brand. That might be all you ever need for the rest of your life. If I can give you some guidance, if I can help you understand a little bit more, and you go somewhere else and that satisfies you for the rest of your term, I did my job. You know, I'd love to sell you a binocular, but what I don't want you to do is be unhappy with hunting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's, you know, you talk about you don't personally, but there's this whole concept of the big tent of hunting. One does. People do. We need more hunters. We need more hunters at the $50 price point. We need more hunters at the $5,000 price point. But what we need is more hunters. It's a dying industry. It's a dying spirit. It's a dying tradition. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to push you out because I
you don't fit my mold.
You because you can't afford my binoculars. I want you in. I want you to be part of it. I want you to be out hunting the woods. I want you to be out shooting that button buck. And if that button buck is your win, hell yeah, brother. Yeah. High five. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because being at the booth, you know, now for 3 years working with you guys, I've heard that, you know, people come up and be like, I'm looking for a binocular or this or that. And they're like, oh, well, we don't sell this product here. Check out these places. And they might be a competitor of yours, but you're there to help out, you know, that end consumer and finding it, you know, is keeping the whole industry as a whole and worrying about, I guess, the main goal of everything and creating more hunters and more or less maintaining more hunters than pushing them away.
Sure. And it can be daunting. It's a gear-intensive industry. You can't walk out of your apartment in New York and kill an elk in Wyoming. You just can't do it. There's gear required, whether you're an archer and you need that bow and that peep sight and those arrows and broadheads, or it's a rifle hunt and you need a scope and a gun and bullets. It's a gear-intensive thing, and gear tends to be a barrier to entry in any sport you're a part of. And so us as a gear manufacturer, we have to make sure that the first thing we do when we talk to a customer is lower that barrier to entry, whether it's through purchasing our least expensive products or sending you to a competitor that isn't going to put a penny in my pocket directly, but if it turns you into a hunter and increases our industry in general, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's part of this whole, you know, with only talking to you loosely about your concept of East meets West, to me, East meets West is a whole concept of bringing access and accessibility to everybody. And whether it's a lifelong slug hunter in Pennsylvania that wants to go hunt their very first bull elk in Wyoming. Or to me, it's kind of funny because it's the opposite. Like, I grew up in Utah shooting mule deer at 14 years old and elk at 16 years old. And to me, that's old hat. I was 40 years old before I sat in a tree stand looking for whitetail. I'm coming the other direction going, wow, this is odd and different, and I love it and can't wait to do more. And it's opening those doors and reducing those boundaries to everybody participating. That's awesome. It's fun.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Like, so the interesting kind of how you were segueing there was you guys are from the West Coast, and you've been
No. We're
from the Rockies.
I didn't say coast.
Ouch.
I said coast.
Ouch.
You're from the Western United States.
Right, west of the Mississippi, like the majority of the United States.
Yeah, you're not no West Coast Cowboys over there in San Fran, but anyways, yeah, that was a low blow. I apologize for that. But yeah, you guys have found interest. You know, you said coming east, you've been doing some little bit of whitetail hunting, some waterfowl hunting, and that's, you know, and going back to the whole basis of East meets West is finding adventure no matter where you're going, you know, whether from east to west, and that's adventure to you guys.
Hell yeah.
You know, doing something different.
I thought I would be bored out of my mind in a tree stand because I didn't grow up hunting at all, actually. It's interesting enough, but when I started into hunting, it was all spot and stalk. And for me, as a fairly antsy hunter, I want to be in motion. I want to be in motion. I want to constantly be out pursuing the game. And
pregnant pause.
I thought sitting in a tree stand would drive me freaking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. And
what did you like about it?
That's a really good question. First of all, I have to say, my first 2 days I didn't see much, so I had a lot of anticipation. And to be honest, I was looking at 4-hour stints in the tree stand. So it was like sunrise until midday, take a little break, back in, early afternoon through sunset. So 4 or 5 hours was a tolerable standpoint. I got day 2 or evening of day 1. This little spike came through, and we were archery hunting, and I knew I wasn't going to shoot a spike, but I had to. It was interesting how the spike reacted to the terrain, to the scent trail, to rattling. You know, I practiced a little rattling horns, just like moved him around a little bit, drew on him. Didn't take a shot, but just drew, like practicing, understanding where it was. So it was kind of fun to be interactive from a tree stand.
Yeah.
And that was super fun for me, knowing I wasn't interested in taking the spike, but what if I had? And knowing what's a good, of course, ranging the terrain, so I understood where my comfortable shots were. And then a couple days later, when I was starting to get interactive, I was starting to see more bucks moving around the terrain. I was glassing them a lot, watching how they reacted to calls and to rattling, to grunting. So trying to play with them a little bit. I'd had some practice with that on turkey hunting, and I was also elk hunting. But elk hunting, you have those interactions, but a lot of times you're just doing it in an auditory way. You know, you have a bugle, you can't see them all the time. But with these bucks from the tree stand, it was nice to be able to see them.
Yeah.
And be able to, and we were in Kansas, so we had a little bit of terrain. It wasn't dense foliage like you may have here in Pennsylvania. But, just being able to actually see when you see a buck moving, then you rattle and then you can see them turn and say, oh, what's going on over there? There's a buck. They're interacting with you. That interaction was really fun for me. So, I don't know. I guess what was fun for me was, there was some downtime, some quiet time sitting in the stand, but I was constantly surveying my environment. And then once I did actually glass some bucks that were moving around, watching them interact with each other and with me was really fun. And I actually finally did have a shot on the fourth day, and took a shot, and unfortunately was unsuccessful with that. I actually bounced the arrow off his rib, which I didn't know that until the next afternoon. But I have never been as anxious in a hunting situation as I was when I was on full draw, when that buck was like kind of walking through and preparing to walk into a zone where I was comfortable to take a shot. My heart was through my throat, not in my throat, but through my throat. It was exciting.
And for me, the weird part about tree stand hunting, and I've been archery hunting elk for 5-6 years, and it's absolutely my passion. It's something if I could hunt one thing the rest of my life and one thing only, it would be archery elk season. And it's because I love the interaction, like Mike was talking about, bugling and them coming in, and you're not necessarily seeing them, but you're hearing them and you're trying to decide what to do. And to me, that's the biggest thing about archery elk is you bugle, you hear it answer back, and you're like, all right, do I set up and try and get it into me? Do I move on it? What do I do? Tree stand, you're a dope on a rope. You're pinned up there, and you just are begging that thing to walk within 40 yards of your tree.
Yeah.
And second day in, sitting on this Kansas archery hunt, and I'm sitting in the stand of cottonwoods down in the bottom, and there's all these cornfields and stuff around me, so I can see quite a ways, and I'm seeing a lot of animals. And the most beautiful whitetail, which is rough for me to say as a Westerner, to say that a whitetail is beautiful because they're like dogs with horns.
Oh, here we go.
But this was
They're really small.
They are small. But this is a beautiful, and everyone's going to say, like, yeah, bullshit. It is a 7x7, the most symmetrical animal I've ever seen.
14 point.
Whatever. You can
Yes.
do math. You can add.
We're going Eastern perspective here.
It's a 14 point. 13 on one, 1 on the other. No, it is a symmetrical 7x7. Everyone can do math except for that one little group in Nebraska, and we'll explain it later. No one from Nebraska listens to your podcast. We don't have to worry about it.
No, there's like 0 listeners from Nebraska.
See?
You're good.
I knew. I checked the map. Anyway, so this beautiful 14 point, perfectly symmetrical, big rounded horns, at about 100 yards just comes hauling ass through the cornfield. I'm rattling, I'm doing whatever, and he's on a string, just never comes even close. I'm chained up in this tree. I've got no choices, no options, and I just watch him cruise through, bag up over the hill, and I never see him again in the 7 days we're there. That was a difficult moment. Like, there was nothing I could do.
You wanted to go after him.
Yeah. If I was a ground hunter, like my normal game, I would have seen him coming in. I would have tried to cut him off.
I like it. It's ground hunter.
Ground hunter. I mean, I didn't know what else to call it, but it works, right? Like, you're either...
You're on the ground.
If I had been on the ground, moving around, if I had been a spot and stock,
you still would have
I probably
missed that
still would have
sucker.
never
He would have
had
been
a chance
gone.
at him. But mentally, my game would have been different. It wouldn't have been, how can I call him to me? Can I rattle? Can I grunt? Can I whatever? It would have been can I cut here? Can I move here? Can I get in front of him? Can I do this? So the mentality of a tree stand versus not a tree stand, and I say dope on a rope with the greatest of respect because it completely changes your game. But when you are locked up in that tree, it is a different hunt.
Tied up in the tree.
You know?
Yeah, when you say locked into the tree, it
Locked.
chained.
Sorry,
up
say
in
that
the tree.
again. What's the O on that? Locked?
Locked.
Locked.
This is a U in there somewhere that I can't quite hear, but I buy it.
Keep going.
The next day.
Anyway, You don't want to hear the rest of my
You
Yeah, I
do.
do.
You do. He had a big ass buck come in, and he totally screwed it.
All
up.
right.
And it's a good story.
But we're already at 45 minutes, and I hate to
Good.
bore them.
No, keep going.
So this is the worst of West meets East that you can get, because
This is West meets East.
I pulled a series of bonehead moves, the likes of which
like I do elk hunting.
probably.
Yes.
All right.
there it
So,
was.
so no shit, there I was. Were you here last week when we were talking about every great hunting story starts with, so no shit, there I was. Sorry, everybody. I apologize. So no crap, there I was. So it was my third or fourth sit. And I've had, I saw this huge 14-point go by, and I've watched some amazing.
Dude, I mentioned earlier that little spike that I'd seen.
Yeah.
That was like day 2 and 3. He's seen the massive bucks, but all at a distance.
And I've seen him sparring and breaking off horns
Oh, man,
200
it was
yards out. I
insane.
mean, it's just
But
every
way out.
sit I go on using fantastic.
Way out in Eastern standards, like
It's Kansas.
150 yards.
It's Kansas. It's flat.
Yeah.
I might be looking to Idaho. It's hard to say. And with the binoculars I had with me, I probably could see Idaho because they were that good. Plug. Maven built. Anyway.
Hashtag.
Hashtag Maven built.
So, the guides that we're with, we're on this semi-guided hunt where they've scouted, they've got pictures. We're staying at their lodge.
By guiding, they say, you sit here.
Yeah.
Sit here. Here's your 4 choices of where to sit. Here's our
Here's where we're
pictures.
going to lunch.
We'll pick you up. We'll have, post toasties. And so he's like, I've seen this buck around this area. I call him 747 because he's like, he doesn't have a lot of points, but he's wide. Like
Right.
super wide, right? Like, all right, yeah, whatever. All you Easterners naming your bucks, and we just shoot shit and put it down, but whatever.
Another dig on the Eastern guys. You're not getting many Maven buyers out of this one.
Anyway, so there I was.
There you were.
So there I was.
No shit.
No shit, there I was. So I'm sitting up in my tree stand, and I'm looking around, and mostly I can see to the west and
From the east.
from the east.
Move on, dude.
But I'm looking behind me, literally to the east, and there's this cornfield, and here comes this buck out, and he's so big he looks like a muley, just tall,
It's super
height-wise.
wide and tall.
And like he's way above his ears. Like I think that's a nice buck. And I rattle. I've got some little rattles that I bought, and I give it a rattle, and his head comes up, looks at me, and comes in like he's on a string. I mean, just bags ass to me. He closes, so he's probably 200 yards out when I first rattle. He comes in, maybe 100 yards, jumps the fence, doesn't give me quite a clean shot, and then he breaks right, and he goes around, and he gets up into the trees, and he's working his way down. And I've dragged a scent drag or a stink string, or
Stink string.
that's not what they call it, but they should, shouldn't they?
Yeah, that's not bad. That's
Thanks.
not bad, but yeah.
But I'm dragging my
scent
stick
drag.
string through the. So he's following right along this path. I'm like, I know where he's going to come out. I've ranged all my shots. I know right where he's coming, right? So I'm waiting. I see him come, and I'm on the backside of this big cottonwood, because my stand is facing west, and he's on the east side right now. So I see him come on one side, and I decide I need to draw on the far side of him so that when he steps out, he's right at 30 yards. I've got a 30-yard shot. I've been practicing this all my life, right? So I watch him walk, and he's walking on pace, doing a good steady speed. He gets right behind the blind spot of my tree. I come to full draw. I'm waiting on him. He's supposed to step out any second. He stalls out. I'm sure that's never happened to you on a buck and a
No.
So I'm waiting, starting to shake, starting to get the wobbles. I'm waiting. Like, what the hell? He's supposed to be, like, he should have been out, it feels like an hour ago. It's probably 4 seconds ago. Starting to wobble. I'm like, all right, he's turned. I need to let down and readjust. Just as I start letting down, he walks into this little 1 foot spot that I have cleared. And I let go and kind of push forward. And that arrow flies about 1.5 feet off his back. Nowhere close to him. He hears the thwack or with the hit of the arrow or whatever, and he bolts. Wait, don't see anything. I'm like, oh, crap. Okay, I'm going to go down, grab my arrow, see what's going on. I crawl down the tree stand. I get down. I'm looking for my arrow.
At that point, did you know that you missed him?
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was clean.
Yeah.
It was clean.
But wait,
there's more.
So
I'm down there. I'm looking for my arrow, and I look over.
And what does he see?
What do I see? I see 747 bagging ass back in towards me. My bow's still up in the tree.
No.
You move. Oh.
Yeah, my bow's still up in the tree.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's going to stab him with the arrow.
So I hunker down, I run over, clip in, climb up the tree, try to get there. Of course, he comes in, blows out, goes back, right?
It's not over. Oh, yeah, it doesn't end there.
So I get up in the tree, lower my bow down, go back, look for my arrow again, find my arrow, good shape still, landed in some marshy stuff, go back up in the tree, and I'm sitting there like, heart's pumping a little bit, like, man, I screwed that up. I can't believe it. I look around, and sure as shit, here comes that buck back in. My bow's down at the bottom of the tree because, of course, I lowered it back down. Luckily, it's still connected. Luckily, it's still on the safety rope. I quietly pull it back up, get it all set, and he never comes back in within 60 or 70 yards. But
oh, man.
But, I mean, you talk about a lifetime of hunting out east and a lifetime of hunting out west. That scenario,
we just don't deal with that. That's different situation.
It's a scenario I've never been a part of in my life. And I would mock the hell out of you if you did something silly on a... You're capturing this one, aren't you?
Yep.
That would have been... I mean, there's some elk hunts that I've blown for different reasons, but because of elk doing weird things... But I learned
do whatever they want, in my opinion.
I learned a lot on that.
Oh man, so we were elk hunting. We were out. Squirrel, shiny. I mean, you do all kinds of shit. So we're out rifle hunting for elk, and walking through the woods, and we're like walking along, chit-chatting.
I don't know which story he's telling.
This is the two cows. We walk right in there, right in front of us.
Oh, yeah.
So
snowing and blowing, a bushel of fun.
It's snowing and blowing. We've already gone through archery season. We're now on a meat hunt. And it's the two of us walking through, and we're discussing. We're actually discussing at this point. Like, do you walk with one in the chamber and on safety, or do you walk with one in the magazine and then you chamber one when you get in an elky situation. When it gets elky. So we're actually talking about this shortly before this all goes down. And Cade is keep one in the chamber and on safety. And I've always been more don't keep one in the chamber and chamber one when it gets elky, quote unquote. And so we're talking about this, and we pop around. And I'm slightly ahead of you at this time, and it's snowing.
Which he usually is, because he is fast and agile, and I'm slow and fast.
Yes, fast and agile.
Which I accept.
Yeah. So we pop over we're in this little kind of down, there's some down trees, and we pop up, and all of a sudden, we stop. I've got my gun in my hip, sort of in my arms.
Scope cover on because it's
freaking snowing. Not one in the chamber, and here's some elk 30 yards in front of us, popping up from their bedded situation,
and he's waving his left arm, Stop.
Because they can't see me from that side because
Yeah.
there's some trees. But
And I'm ready to shoot, but I
he
can't see the
a
elk.
damn thing.
Mike is 3 steps because he's traveling safely through New Jersey, apparently.
With his ammo in his backpack.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
We did not shoot
we
an
did
elk.
not shoot an elk that day.
Yeah.
But
Thought you were going to talk about the elk that I shot because
that was a good
you
one,
did
too.
not believe in my
That was a good
scenario.
one, too.
but
That was our first elk hunt together.
yeah.
We're out with our buddy Scott, who now works in our warehouse.
I was going to wait and make sure that Bo gave us the nod to tell another story.
Can we
You
tell
can,
another story?
tell
He's
another
over
story.
here getting glassy
Yeah,
eyed,
he can
checking
edit
his
this
watch.
shit. Wait a minute. He does
Well, I don't have a watch.
He's posting to Instagram over here like, what is this shit? Just wanted to make sure you were open for another one.
Hashtag
So-
FML, you know.
He's DMing some girl saying like, "I'm almost done. I'm wrapping it up."
Hashtag one night tree stand.
Keep going. Let's hear the story.
So we're walking around with Scott through this burn area, and Scott's like ditched us, and Cade and I are like walking together, and he's like, I'm gonna take the high ground.
Okay, hold on.
Stop.
Back up.
Pause.
Back up.
Wait.
So this is Mike's 6th year of
fuck
elk
you.
hunting. No, but it's relevant. And Mike says at the beginning,
Unsuccessful for 6 years.
Mike has said, if I don't get an elk this year, I think I might be done.
6 years.
So we're elk hunting together, and I say, I am not pulling the trigger until Mike has an opportunity. So I don't even have ammo in my gun at this point, right? Like literally, I haven't, not even in the magazine.
I don't like the way this story's going. Go ahead.
Don't let the story get in the way of a good truth.
Excellent.
So we go up opening morning with our buddy Scott, who is now a Maven employee, by the way. And sun comes up. We don't see an elk directly. Scott says, I'm heading this way. Mike and I say, we're going to work up our way up this ridge. And we get up and we work the ridge, don't see any elk. We drop down a couple hundred yards, and this mountain that we're on works down maybe 300 yards, shelves out to a nice plateau, then drops off again another 300 yards to another plateau. And it's a old burn,
We actually
forest
call
fire.
it Black
We call it
Mountain.
Black
It's
Mountain.
all the trees are black, and it's
and there's a lot of down
Interesting.
timber. It's kind of rough. And we get to the first plateau, and Mike says, I think I'm going to work down this. I said, you know what? I think we should go down one more and work that one. He says, no, I'll work this when you go down one. Reluctantly, I agree. And since we're separating, and I can't give him the lead,
You put something.
I go ahead and chamber around. He starts walking down,
we're not apart for 20 seconds.
and what do you hear?
Boom!
So I had walked down, and I got to the first little plateau, and I look, and here comes a little 2x1 velvet
Yeah.
Yeah.
spike, and all I can see is its head, right? Cow call, pokes its head up, put my gun on right between his eyes. I'm like, this is either a clean hit or a clean miss. There's no halfway here. Pull the trigger. Yeah, we hadn't been apart.
I mean, literally half a minute.
Hadn't been
I'm
apart
not
very
exaggerating.
long.
Half a minute.
Pull the trigger, come back down, come off the recoil. It's a rifle hunt. No elk. I don't see him anywhere. I'm listening. Nothing crashing through the woods. Like, Wait for a second. Walk up. Nailed him right between the eyes. Dropped like he was hit with a sledgehammer. Didn't move 6 inches.
So I gave up at elk hunting.
Yeah.
You gave up elk hunting?
That's why he's
Did not.
that's why he's
no.
I was going to say, that's
Hell
a
no.
terrible motivational
Hell
story.
no. Hell no. I was fired. I was like, screw you. I'm going to take the low trail next time.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, we just quartered him up, hauled him out.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And hey, well, that gives me a little bit of hope. I'm going on 3 years without killing an elk.
Dude.
But maybe it's hope or maybe it's
not. I don't know how to take that story.
Yeah, just go with the flow. Just be happy you get a chance to walk around.
I don't know if there's a moral to that story.
There's not a moral.
Yeah, it's just a good way to boost your own self-esteem and put Mike down. Is that kind of what it is?
I shot a cow.
I'm just.
I shot
lucky
a
than
cow
good.
the next year right between the eyes too. So
Did you?
Yeah.
Hey.
It's all good.
That's exactly. That's
It's
awesome.
good eating.
When Cade says take the low road, take the low road.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's the moral of the story. When Cade says take the low road in whatever aspect that may be in your life, take that low road.
I usually recommend the low road.
Yeah, I've learned that from some of your tips for me in life. But
Oh man.
yeah, so that's awesome, and it's funny. Like, so going back a little bit to where you were comparing like the whitetail thing and how you're making like those little mistakes that like. For me, I'm like, I would never get out of the tree stand, without a bow. But that's not something, you're used to or out to. And it's the same thing with me hunting elk. I've done things that I told Western guys, and they're like, you did what? Like, this is what you did in that scenario? And it's just learning a new, a new venture. And, man, sometimes you wish you could have those opportunities back, as I'm sure you do with the big 7x7.
Or whatever he was.
But
that's
14 points.
That's what's cool about hunting is, another story. Last week we went out hunting with some friends of ours for geese in Kansas.
Uh-huh.
And waterfowl's not a big thing in Wyoming, if you can imagine, since there's not a lot of freaking water. So these boys from Kansas, they slay it with
Holy moly.
ducks and geese. Some friends of ours. I'm going to give them a plug if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Throw them out there.
Bobby Hayes owns and makes Ducklander calls. And the guy makes some kick butt calls and puts down some waterfowl. So it must have been November of last year when I said, all right, we're coming out to Kansas. We're on our way to Pennsylvania. If we give you a couple of days, what's open? Oh, yeah, come down. We'll do something. We'll put some hunts together. And so we go out, and he's been scouting for days. He's been sending me videos.
Duck just ended.
Yeah, duck ends Sunday. We pull into town Sunday night, so it's goose only at this point.
Yeah.
Which is fine. We're not hunting anything in Wyoming this time of year, so
yeah,
it's all bonus season to us. And Bobby just wants to show us a good time. It hurts his soul if we don't get to shoot stuff, right?
And they put some scouting on.
And they've I think they said they put 1,400 miles on in 2 days on their trucks scouting for geese.
Holy cow.
Right?
They drove everywhere.
And they had them
everywhere.
Patterned. They had knocked on 50 doors for permissions to get permissions to ranches, and they've got this all dialed in, and they've got the weather forecast all set. So we get out there Monday afternoon, and the forecast is wrong. It's supposed to freeze. It's supposed to be solid to get out in the fields. It's 32 degrees. It's all muddy. We can't drive out there. Can't get the decoys set up right because you can't get the full bodies out. And we end up in this field, and for some reason or another, the geese are heavy about a half mile away.
Which is the second year in a row.
I wasn't going to dime them out like that, but okay. And so
it's not their fault.
Yeah.
But it's the second year in a row
literally,
we've been
we don't
one
get a
field
single
over.
shot at a goose. We must see 40,000 geese. None of them within range to shoot because they're all in the next field.
Yeah.
Because of a weather pattern. Because of one small thing. And this
Which
is where
we experience all the time, the hunting we do, that weather patterns affect everything.
Yeah.
But you don't get it in the extreme you do with waterfowl hunting, where you can see that you are that you're 100 yards off.
Yeah.
You can actually like when you're elk hunting and they're not there. But when you're waterfowl hunting and they're not there, they're just over there.
Yeah.
But this led me to a hunting epiphany.
Let's hear it.
I thought he was going to steal it. That's why I was getting
No. I set you up.
this dark look on
Go.
my
What do you
face
say? Go.
because he likes to steal my one-liners and claim them as his.
Yeah, Mike does that kind of stuff.
He
but
is
such an
that
ass.
guy.
I can't. Yeah, never mind.
The reason we struggle all the time when we travel to hunt
It's because
is the single most valuable thing, in my humble and ever so accurate opinion.
Wait, that's my line.
That is your line. See what I did there? Sorry. In my humble opinion, is time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time in the woods is irreplaceable.
So valuable.
And so you book this hunt 3 years out and say, all right, outfitter, here's my 10 grand. I'm coming out to hunt elk in Wyoming, and I'm going to be there from the 15th to the 20th. And storm front does come in, and it's awesome, or it doesn't come in, and it sucks. But our advantage is we're in Wyoming, and between archery and rifle, my elk season's 60 days long.
Right.
It's a crappy day. I don't leave my house.
But we come waterfowl hunting in Kansas for a day and a half.
Yeah,
And they're crappy days.
And they've poured their heart and soul
It's the
into
weather.
making sure we have a good time.
Yeah.
But we have 36 hours and it doesn't pan out.
Right.
They feel crappy, but they've shot more than their legal amount of ducks. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Bobby. No, I mean they've slayed them, but they've stayed home on bad days and they've gone out on good days because they have that availability.
Right.
And so my advice, which is a segue to nothing because you didn't ask, if you're going to go west to hunt,
Just move there. Don't go
just
for a
move.
little. Yeah.
No, but Colorado, not Wyoming. Wyoming's not open.
Oh,
No.
jeez.
Put some time into it.
Yeah.
And if you can only put 5 days, which a lot of us can, you take a week of vacation. By the time you travel out and back, understand that you've got some limitations. And I know people beat their outfitters up and say, I paid 10 grand. How come you didn't guarantee me an elk? It's like the storm front didn't come through. The weather's been high. It's a drought year.
Yeah.
If you can't put the time into it, you have to kind of deal the hand you're dealt, or play the hand you're dealt. That's what I meant.
And accept that the time we get in the woods, in the mountains, in the field is worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it definitely is. And I learned, I'm still learning the value of sometimes not overbooking and trying to do as many things as possible and just enjoying the things that you are doing.
Right.
From the standpoint, when I spent 14 days in Colorado this last year, that was amazing. Like, I had 14 days to still not kill an elk. And but it was like,
Shit, I had 6 years, brother.
yeah, it was invaluable as far as like, I got to see the seasons change from summer to the aspens or quakies, as everyone calls them in the West. It seems like
Call them aspens.
Do you call them aspens?
I do now. I grew up calling them Quakies.
Yeah.
So they're
But I'm a
turning,
Western boy by trade, so.
yeah, West Coaster, and they're starting to turn yellow, and just like the whole being able to see that and slow time down and enjoy that whole experience was like.
That's
was
awesome.
invaluable, and I'm, like I said, that's still a learning aspect for me, because I look at the year, and I get it, at going to trade shows, people are like, oh, what do you got planned for this fall? And if I feel like if I'm not rattling off, 4 things, that I'm not, doing anything. But in reality, I think having 1 or 2 trips that are just really getting to spend the time is
it's worth it.
I mean, it's amazing how little you have to do to have a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't even respond to that. I can't even respond.
Ouch.
I'm just getting slammed over here.
Ouch.
Man. I'm getting slammed here, guys. So
it's all love,
someone
man.
support me.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, I know.
No, so, and I have this conversation with my wife every fall. The hunt.
You would think you didn't have to do it again and again every fall.
The hunt is different than the kill.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to take my bow for a walk.
Bow hikes.
Bow hikes. Just grab and go. And
You have those, don't you, Bo?
I'm professional at it, yeah.
I've seen more mountain sunrises because of hunting.
Yeah.
Sure, I could get up every morning at 4 a.m. and hike up to the top of a hill and watch sunrise, but I don't. But give me a tag and a bow in my hand, I'm up there every morning watching that rise. And the second I release that arrow, the second I pull that trigger, it changes the fall for me. It's over. It was weird. October 1st of last year, I already had my antelope down. I shot my elk opening morning a rifle after a season of archery hunting.
Successful.
No, archery hunting. I was trying to put her all together. October 1st, I come home with my elk tag filled, my antelope tag filled, and we don't have, 17 dozen tags or whatever you guys get to shoot out here. I literally washed my camo and put it away. Like, all my hunting stuff was put away by October 2nd last year. Tags filled and done. And it was, I opened my freezer and saw the chops and the burger there, and I was satisfied and fulfilled.
Bittersweet, though.
And yet it was crazy to be done that early in the season and go, crap, now I have to do chores. This is rough.
Yeah. Man, I wish I was as good as you,
No, you don't.
Many do. Many do, my friend.
It takes me to the last possible day of anything I do to have success. And at the same time, like what you were saying, I don't think I'd want to be done that early. I mean, like, would I be super excited if that did happen? Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you should try success.
Yeah.
See how it tastes.
God damn. Oh. I'm getting smoked. I don't know
If we all could be as cool as Cade.
Yeah, I know. That's what this whole name
What a
of this
dream world
podcast
we
is
would
going to
live in.
be. The life of Cade. That's all it is.
I had one good year. I'll take it.
Oh, man.
It just happened to be last year.
It happened to be last year.
Yeah.
Get me next year.
No,
How about that?
yeah.
Next year he'll suck.
I can't wait. I hope so.
Yeah, he will.
Ouch.
I'm kidding.
I'm not.
I don't wish.
Screw him.
You said it, not me. You have to be around him all the time. I only have to see him for a week every year.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Gets to be around me all the time.
Right.
Man,
I just shot
I'm
you
glad.
antelope.
I'm glad we're in a big open room because if Cade had to fit his head through the doorway right now, it'd be very
you
difficult.
would be suffocating.
You've been waiting on that one all week since
Yeah,
I got you last weekend.
I know.
Been saving that up.
Yeah, so we're at the we're gonna go real quick. A story. We were at the outdoor show, getting a photo, and Cade's taking the picture of me and some other guys, and he goes, "Hold on, let me step back. I can't get Bo's ego in the photo."
Oh.
Absolute
That's not
just
fair.
burn. Yeah. Oh yeah. Everyone thought it was funny too.
Well, yeah. It's because you're a down-to-earth, low-impact guy, and you're not. Your ego is it's like the size of that table. I mean, like, it's a really big table, but
You try to be nice and you just can't do it.
no, I can't. You're right.
Yeah, man.
It's impossible.
That's great. But yeah, that's it's interesting and just to kind of bring this all back around, like
Like there's a central theme. I can't wait to hear what it was.
East meets West.
no, it all no. What I'm meaning is how you can find that sort of adventure through no matter what
Yeah.
it is.
It is true.
It's direct to consumer optics.
It's
No,
it's,
no, I hate to disagree with you, Cade. Wait a minute. No, I love to disagree with you, Cade. But I agree with you, Bo, that the central theme is there's tons of adventure to have in this wonderful sport of ours.
and it's how you define it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to expand your horizons a little bit and look outside the box of wherever you are used to experiencing your own adventure. Go west if you've been out east. Go east if you've been out west. And we can all go to the West Coast and hunt pigs. Why not?
And to me, it's
just
don't let other people define what your adventure is.
yes.
I think so many people get caught up in the Insta life of watching these hunters and huntresses traveling the world, killing goats in Azerbaijan and fishing in
Just get
on the
out there.
Kenai.
Just go
You know
do
what? Sometimes my adventure of the week is walking 3 miles down and fishing for trout in my hometown because I've got to find that time for myself. I've got to carve it out. And letting other people define what your adventure is, letting other people tell you what gear to use, what's cool, what's hip. Doesn't matter if it's your dream hunt or your dream coat or your dream optics. You can't be defined by someone else.
Get out
there. Got to do what works for you and just get her done. Get on it.
And learn from mavens.
Mavens. Whether it's optics or just the mavens in your industry.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that kind of that outlook on it, and just being yourself and figuring what makes you tick and do it, and then
push your boundaries.
Push that a little bit. I was just gonna say push that a little bit and get outside.
Meet somebody new. Go try some new adventure.
Yep. I completely agree.
Try to get someone else on board because we needed more people in our industry.
Yep.
I duck with a boner drag weeds.
Amen.
He's been waiting to use that line.
Yeah, even though it doesn't.
It was forced. It was forced, but I had asked Bo to set me up, but as the poor host that he is, he never did.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that, Cade, but you didn't pick up on it, you know.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's a little slow.
Yeah, it happens.
I got to live my best life, Bo.
That's just Cade's out here living his best life. That's if you can't tell already, the Maven brand, the company, the people behind it, just good people and like to have fun, and I guess like to like the whole aspect of, if you want to call it a sport or the industry as a whole, and helping everyone throughout that.
Well, because the one thing you had asked about our corporate culture or our company culture, and I just wanted to kind of bring that back around because you had talked about it a little bit. As Mike reaches for his drink, he's trying to figure out how I'm going to frame this to shed the best possible light on us, which is not my forte.
Not at all.
But Maven, so we have an internal business
Ethos.
That's not.
I don't know where you're going with this, so I can't really back you up.
Tagline.
Oh yeah, tagline.
So when we first started, the three of us, when we first started a long time ago, we said,
yes, don't work with
douchebags. Literally, that was
it. Seriously,
that was our.
We sat around and we said, what do we want to do? We want to live in Wyoming and we want to not work with douchebags.
And it's been a watchword since day one.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds crass, or it is crass, I guess.
It's a
little rough. But what we really mean by that is,
don't work with people you don't want to work
with. And I've kind of coined a thing, and everyone kind of laughs at me, but I'm going to say it again and again because I believe it.
And then I'm going to laugh at him.
We work in the toy industry.
Ha ha ha.
We do. We work in the toy industry. We make toys. Whether it's optics or bows or guns or tree stands, these aren't needs. These aren't roofs. These isn't. Woo.
You really don't.
I've been in Pennsylvania too long. These isn't. Sorry. We make toys. Yeah. These aren't necessities. They aren't required to get by day to day. And you have all of these people getting bent out of shape with each other, warring factions, and you wear a Kuiu, you can't come in. I wear Sitka, or you're a First Light guy, or we all work in the toy industry. We're all having fun. We're all doing things that we love.
all should be having fun.
We all better be having fun. And I could care less if your favorite binocular is a $50 Bushnell or a $3,000 Swarovski. If you're having fun, you're loving what you do, and you're not a douchebag, I'm on board. I'm with you. Let's have fun. You can come to my house. You can have a drink. We'll have steaks together. That's what we're supposed to be about. We're all supposed to be about camaraderie, about showing each other how to hunt whitetails if we accidentally leave our bow in the tree. We're just
don't turn your brain off, but either way, keep going.
But
we all screwed up.
We've become too divisive of an industry. And I don't care if you're a traditional bow hunter or a long-range rifle hunter. In the end, we're all supposed to be working towards the same things, having the same goals, the same ethos, and it's a cool place to be, and it's a pretty exciting place to be. And that's what we're about at Maven is, you know what, if you come up and say, look, I have these 40-year-old Steiners, they're the best thing I've ever owned in my life, and I don't know why I would ever buy your stuff. Like, okay, right. If you come up not being a jackass about it, if you're just genuine about it, sweet. We're having a barbecue on Tuesday night. You want to show up? Sweet. No big deal. And that's how we try to approach our entire thing. All of the employees that we have working at Maven now, I believe, and maybe they'll kick me when they hear this, but they're psyched that they get to work in this industry. They're psyched that they get to work for a cool company. Cool being relative. I'm not trying to inflate what we are, but it's a fun place to work.
At least you didn't use the word hip again.
Did I use hip earlier?
You used hip earlier.
Because when I got up to go to the bathroom, I hurt my hip, I think. That might have been the extent of it.
But no, I completely get what you're saying, and that's why I come back to this show every year. I enjoy it. I enjoy working with you guys, people. And it is. Yeah. We have fun the entire time.
And I don't mean just in the Maven booth. I mean just this industry. For the most part, it's good people.
Yeah, I mean, when Bo takes off for 7 hours out of the booth and goes and hangs out at other booths.
5.5.
It's because he's finding cool booths to hang out.
Yeah, cool people, and that's what it's all about.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. Oh, man. As you can see, we like to have fun, and we dig on each other a lot the whole day.
Bo's picking on me all day. I can't take it.
Yeah, just luckily we have a light sense of humor, and that works out. So let's dive into this final thoughts here. Question that I ask most guests, forget sometimes, but I'm going to ask Cade here first. How do you define adventure?
To me, adventure is anything that is fun for me, that pushes my boundaries of comfort a little bit. Like just a little bit outside my normal scope of fun and of comfort that's still fun is adventurous to me.
Okay. I like that answer. Mike.
So I believe in the types of fun. So adventure has to be type 2 fun at least. So, and you guys have heard this all before, but type 1 fun was when you're like just fun. It's just joyful right now. Type 2 fun is when it's a little bit stressful and it's not really fun until you sort of revisit it. That's adventure. And then type 3 fun is only fun if you tell it. It's actually not fun at all. It was zero fun. It was uncomfortable and unpleasant, but it was a really good story.
Yeah.
Type 2 and type 3, that's where you hit adventure.
Gotcha. So it's funny you say that because I always use the term type 2 fun.
Yeah.
And that's how I explain elk hunting most of the time.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard the type 3 part.
Oh, type 3 is only good in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely had zero fun. You were suffering. It was unpleasant. It was absolute, nearly horror.
Yeah.
But it made a great story.
So I'm going to misquote this. I'm going to misquote it, but I know you're trying to wrap up, but this is an important thing to know about Mike. One of the greatest climbers in adventure climbing in the world said about Mike, Mike doesn't start laughing until the blood starts flowing.
Type 3 fun.
So he might not be the right person to ask about adventure. Did I quote it right, though?
You did. Close enough.
Todd Skinner, right?
Todd Skinner.
That's good. All right, guys, let's talk real quick about. No, we're not diving into another subject.
I thought you were wrapping it up. That's
I might have just misspoken the way I was trying to put my words together there. But where can we find more about Maven?
Oh, yeah. Mavenbuilt.com.
Yeah.
That's our website. Yeah, check us out. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff there. Yep. Blog posts, of course, lots of product. You can build, you can customize a bino, build to order. Yeah, lots of good stuff there.
Yeah.
And then on Instagram, you're at Maven Built. Is that correct? And then Maven, just Maven on Facebook.
I believe so.
Yeah.
So the last thing that you will find on our website that is unique to us, and to me, one of the cruxes of what we're able to offer is we have a demo program.
Oh, yeah.
Like, pretty unique that you get a chance to take a pair of optics into a real-world situation. And everything looks great under the lights at the Harrisburg show. Everything looks great under the lights at Store C. But you
Or
can get,
BP.
or BP or FNS or whatever. But you can actually get on our website, get a pair of optics, and take them out in the field for a couple of weeks. And I recommend when you do that, you call all your buddies that have their favorite optics and line them up side by side. Amen. Nothing I like better than putting ours next to everybody else's.
Confident. I like it.
That's it. That's
All right,
it,
guys.
Bo.
That's
all we
it.
got.
That's all I have to say. Just that little short little bit.
All I have to say is thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks,
it's been
Bob.
a long week for you guys. I know I wasn't here the whole time with you, but it's been a long week, tiring. Spent some time after a good steak dinner and a drink or two to sit down and record this. So thank you guys.
Cade.
Yeah, Cade's. Yeah, we're not going to get into his problem, but yeah, thank you guys very much.
Hey,
that.
thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Bo.
All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of East Meets West Hunt with your host, Bo Martonic. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit eastmeetswesthunt.com, Facebook at East Meets West Outdoors, and Instagram at East Meets West Hunt. If you enjoyed today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.